Hey guys, I'm Samcrac, and my cheap salvage auction Corvette Grand Sport has been about 90% done for over 90 days, and that's totally unacceptable. Today, we are going to get this car 100% finished. That way, I can start enjoying it. This car sat several months at a dusty auction lot in Houston, Texas. If that wasn't bad enough, well, it came partially disassembled. The number one thing my Corvette is in dire need of is a major inside and outside cleaning. Lucky for me, the guys over at Mother's noticed my Corvette's hygiene issue and sent out a couple of their cleaning products. Let's start by giving this car the wash it is really in need of. All right, so we've got all the surface grime off the Corvette. We've rinsed it, we have not dried it. We have a little bit of extra soapy water on there, and that's because it is time for the speed clay. Now, a good lubricant for clay is just soapy water. So I've got a little bit of soapy water left in my bucket there still, and I've got, like I said, a little bit on the car now. And you could see there's little impurities all over this car. Some of them are just little black specks, some of them are little marks like this, and the speed clay will actually pick a lot of this stuff up. So let's focus in on this area right here. We're just gonna rub it a little bit until you see it get completely minimized, and then look, it is completely gone. This stuff is like magic, and like I said, regular clay is great. Mother's makes the best regular clay kit that exists on cars, but this is just so much quicker. I'm gonna have this car done probably within about 5 minutes, and then we can move on to drying it and then sealing it with a little bit of wax. Just to show you how much of a Mother's fan I really am, these are the only waxes you'll find on my shelf. These were not sent by Mother's. The other products were. These two have been on my shelf. You can see they're used. I use these both regularly. Oh, see, some of the dry wax is already coming out of that one. But today we are going to use the one that Mother sent in, and that is the spray wax. We are in a pinch for time, and you can use Mother's spray wax when the car is still wet. You can also use it dry. So let's finish up the Corvette with this. Now look at that shine. This car almost looked like a matte white before, and now the paint is glossy. It's clean, it's beautiful, and it only took me about an hour combined for wash, clay bar, speed wax, and a little bit of scratch remover in between. I gotta give a huge thanks to Mother's for sending me out these products and sponsoring this video. I've linked my favorite Mother's products in the description box below if you happen to be interested in some for your car. In around 48 hours, the Corvette will go into the state inspector's office for its rebuild inspection. Hopefully once it passes, it will replace my Fiesta ST as my new daily driver. So there's no time to waste and there's no excuses to be had. Let's spin this car around, let's get inside and finish our interior repairs. All right, it looks no different than before, but we've got a brand new clock spring in here. We're gonna go and hook up the horns and see if they function properly now. Before I start reassembling everything, I just shot down the door panels, the dashboard, and any of the trim with some of this interior detailer. I'll hit the seats with them really quick too before I put them in. But you can see this car was really, really dusty before. And now things are looking brand new like they should. This car's only got about 8,000 miles on it. So when it's done, it's going to be like a brand new Corvette. Before we reinstall the seats permanently, I'm gonna shoot these carpets down with a little bit of carpet cleaner to really give it that brand new feel. Now quickly, before we put the two seats back in the Corvette, we have to install our seatbelt buckles back on the sides. Those were professionally repaired, and all they do is screw in right here, and then they plug in underneath. Alright, so our seat is in place. Our seatbelt has been mounted properly. The buckle, of course, was installed. The only thing I haven't done is buckle the seat down to the floor, and that's because before I go ahead and fasten everything down 100%, I want to make sure that our electronics are working. That would be our buckle, our seatbelt, and all the seat electronics. So we'll just start with a simple move down, move back, move forward. You want to test everything because there's actually a couple motors. There's motors that move seats up and down. There's motors that move seats forward and backward. Now last, we're going to test that seatbelt with our code reader here. We're going to try and use this code reader today to actually reset the airbag light in this car without having to dig behind the dashboard and get the module out. But first, let's go ahead, let's test the seatbelt module. Let's make sure everything is working on this side of the car. So at this point, I used 3 different diagnostic readers to check for codes in the SRS or the airbag module, and no codes popped up. But the unfortunate part is my airbag light still came on the dashboard. There was nothing to clear, nothing to reset using these diagnostic scanners. Now in the past, I've used diagnostic scanners to clear airbag lights on my dashboard in the Fiesta ST, the pizza car, the Money Pajetta, and my Audi S3. But in this Corvette, things are a bit different. With the clock running and figuring out that I would not be able to reset this airbag light, and obviously I need that reset to pass an inspection, I stopped what I was doing and I started disassembling the dashboard to get that SRS module out and send it into the guys over at My Airbags, the same guys that actually repaired the buckles that are in this Corvette. It's a new day and the Corvette looks the same, but I assure you a lot has been done to this car and there's very little left. We just basically got to throw on the wheels and tires. I'm going to recharge the AC. The AC is holding perfect vacuum. Flush the coolant really quick, and really what we're going to be focusing on is the interior here. First things first, I got to give a huge thanks to the guys at myairbags.com. This is the SRS module. They went ahead, they reset it for me. It goes in right underneath the radio down there. The only way to reset them is to send them into a professional service like them, or you buy a completely new one of these, which is much, much more costly. This was only like $50-ish. So I'm going to link them in the description box below, and I greatly, greatly appreciate them for getting this and turning it around to me. They overnighted it to me so that I could get this car in for the inspection tomorrow. So big thanks, myairbags.com. I really, really appreciate it. With the SRS module installed, what I want to do before we proceed is just start the car up really quick, make sure that our airbag light goes off, because that is the #1 reason that we would fail a rebuild inspection, is the airbag light being on. Now, I did this all obviously with the battery disconnected. Everything's connected. The car should start up just fine, so let's check it out. All right, foot on the clutch. Got to make sure this thing is in neutral. This is our gear selector, even though it doesn't look like it right now. Here we go. All right, our airbag light's blinking. Gone. Right now we are ready to do our final assembly, everything in the front corners on both sides. But before we do that, I just want to do a final test, make sure that everything is working as it should, especially electrically, since we did mess with the electrical stuff underneath there a little bit. This thing is about as simple and easy as it gets. You literally plug it in, it's wireless. You can see I'm using it outside of the car. To figure out if everything works right, we're gonna hit health report, and that's gonna do a scan of every single thing in the car. We're gonna hit up level radio and just tell us what is wrong, what is right. What we're really concerned about is anything electrical. So if I left anything unplugged down there or just hooked something up incorrectly, this should tell us and let us know before we go and start putting everything back together, because we don't want to put it on the ground to have to go take the wheels off and do that whole entire thing again. We're currently at 38% complete, and we found one fault in the BCM. We'll find out what that is, but we will check back in when we get to 100%. And this is literally going to scan every single electrical system in the car. All right, scan is finished, and we've got two codes. First one being here in the body control module. We will read it really quick. And this is one of those generic codes. It could easily, because we have some stuff disconnected there in the interior, so that we shouldn't be too concerned about. But if we go back, there was one other code here in the electronic brake control module. Again, this is one of those sort of generic codes. It doesn't really point to anything. So when we have everything assembled, we'll be good to go. All right, after quite a bit of trial and error, I actually had the mounting brackets here the wrong way. It was no big deal. Just went and unscrewed them on the side, and we're good to go. Everything went back in really nice, really clean. All we got to do is put the trim back. Our SRS module is already bolted down. So this is it, and this thing's pretty cool. Hopefully it will really make the Corvette interior a lot better, giving it Bluetooth and giving it Bluetooth audio, Android audio, Apple CarPlay. So I'm really excited about this. Things are only downhill from here. Got a little bit of assembly in the front end, but we got to run out to the auto parts store and grab a bulb. I'm gonna take the electric skateboard just because I want to have a little bit of fun. It would be too easy to take the car. But these guys sent me this new electric skateboard. I'm a big fan of electric skateboards, so I thought I'd test it out, and the auto parts store is actually pretty close. So let's hop to it. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
What's up?
See, this is what's annoying, is that I probably have these somewhere, but I need this. So it kind of sucks, but we got to go to another auto parts store tomorrow to pick up the socket for that bulb. I didn't realize that it's two different pieces, but hey, it's no big deal. It's $5 socket. It's just more or less the convenient factor of being inconvenienced. But I can't wait to have this thing finally sorted out. And this skateboard's actually really, really nimble. I like it a lot. We are back empty-handed. We're gonna replace that bulb when it comes in. But before we finish the Corvette right now, I'm going to do a quick 30-second review of this skateboard. All right, full disclosure, I was not paid for this. These guys just know that I really like electric skateboard from watching some of my past videos, so they sent me out one. The best part about this electric skateboard is the size and the lightness. Most of the other electric skateboards I have are really like electric longboards. They're very heavy and very cumbersome to travel with. Number two, the design is really neat. Number three, it is the most nimble electric skateboard I've ever tested, period. Four is the biggest downfall of this board. It's not as fast as some of the other boards I have. But number five, I think they said they're gonna launch it around like 300 bucks. And if that's the case, the other skateboards that I have start at like 500 or 600 bucks, which makes this an absolute steal because it still goes pretty darn quick at the top end and it accelerates just quick enough to get around town. So I give this board a thumbs up. I hardly have the time to ride my electric skateboards anymore. So anytime I get the opportunity to just go somewhere really local, I love taking the electric skateboard. Huge thanks to the guys over at Team Jeep for sending this one to me. And you know, if you're interested in your very own, I'll link it wherever you can find it in the description box below. In the nick of time, we're starting to lose daylight. It's starting to drizzle, but the Corvette is complete. It's got fresh coolant. It's got cold AC. Most importantly, it is completely buttoned up in the front end, and I'm loving the way it's looking. Now, a few quick things in the front end. This looks like hell, okay? This will get taken care of. When I painted the bumper, I didn't tape the gasket off, so it's got paint all on it. I'm gonna have to open the hood and then tape the front bumper off because this gasket is actually like got adhesive on it on the hood. And so anyway, I'll figure that out, but right now I'm too tired to figure that out. The second thing right here, this lip spoiler looks good from like, I'm only a foot or two away, but up close, this is cheap Chinese junk. Whenever I saw it, see this is broken right here. Don't buy an aftermarket lip spoiler, not worth it. I think this was like 180 bucks versus like 250 for the OEM one. The holes were all drilled in the incorrect area. The install was a hassle, but it's on, and like I said, at this point it looks good from a distance. So right now we're gonna call it a wrap. I will see you in the morning at the inspector's office. All right, we are here at the Rebuild Inspection Facility. It's a regional Department of Motor Vehicles, so they do DMV stuff, but it's the bigger regional office. And one of the big questions I get is, how do you transport the vehicle here without plates on it? Basically, when you file all your paperwork, you sign off saying that the car is good enough to drive on the road. I think they call it roadworthy in the paperwork. And when you sign off on that, they give you a piece of paper, or in this case, they'll give you a temporary tag to drive the car on the road. Now, I don't have the temporary tag because the system was down the day that I came, but they did send a letter in the mail. I've been working on this car just like day and night the last few days, so I didn't have time to get it, so I just kind of risked it. But this car is fully insured 100%. Don't drive your car on the road without insurance. That's a foolish thing to do. So right now what we'll do, we'll get in, we will drive in that line where you see the couple vans, and basically we'll wait our turn until we pull the car in, and they'll inspect it. Curious to see what sort of cars are being inspected. I've never really seen anything outside of ordinary cars. You can see this car that's driving out here, this Trailblazer. It's got a different color front bumper on it. You know, usually older, cheaper cars that are really simple to rebuild. I can't really see because there's a big glare, but I don't know if that's a Jeep Wrangler that's in this bay over here. I can't tell, or it looks like a work truck. We've got this Nissan work van, and behind us in my rear view mirror is just a older BMW 3 Series convertible. So nothing too exciting, except for this. So we survived the inspection. Everything went really easy. Actually, it was hysterical what happened. I drove in to the little garage you saw there, and the inspector saw the car without the tag. He goes, well, where's your temp tag? You drove in here without a temp tag? And like, yeah, I guess you could technically get the car trailered in, but I didn't lie to him. I said, yeah, I drove it in here. The day that I filed my paperwork, your system was down and you couldn't issue me the temp tag. And he's like, well, you could have done this. So anyway, another guy walked over and said, I know you from your videos. And he was actually the supervisor of the inspectors. I hit it off with him, and I looked at him and said, hey, is he gonna give me any trouble for not having the tag? And he's like, nah, you might get a warning, don't worry about it. So anyway, that all worked itself over. Guys, don't drive on the road without tags. While we were chatting, the inspector was going over everything on the car, did it really quick, got in, checked the mileage, checked the airbag light, and then said, go in the office, you're done. You pick up all your paperwork at the office, you write him a check for the sales tax, and you're good to go. The check that I wrote the state was right under $1,000. Majority of that was sales tax on the car itself. I paid $13,000 for the car at auction, and so 6% plus there's some added fees, plus a tag title transfer fee. That's where you get your 900 and change from. So even though this car is on the road, even though we're driving, there really is one last thing we need to do, and that is get this car in alignment. We replaced a lot of the suspension components in one corner, and because of that, the steering wheel is completely off. The car pulls all over the road. Once we get the alignment, it should be 100%. He's not sure whether or not he's gonna clear that. I really hope he can. First place wouldn't do it because their lift was too low, so on to the next one. Look how off the steering wheel is. After that alignment, I think we can say that things are 100%. We're driving straight, the steering wheel is actually straight, and that suspension light that was on is gone. So this video is proof that I do finish my rebuild projects. Shout out to all you guys in the comment section who have been harassing me for not finishing this car. This video is specifically for you guys, but in all sincerity, this is the best part of the rebuild project, when I can actually enjoy a new car. And what's not to enjoy about a Corvette? It makes all the right noises, it accelerates really fast, and it's just a blast to drive. So anyway, I want to thank Mothers for sponsoring this video. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I want to ask if you're following me on Instagram. If you're not, be sure to do so. I'm going to link it right here. I'll also link it in the description box below. I showed a lot of Corvette stuff as I was finishing it up on Instagram, so all you followers were in the loop on that. I'm also doing the same with RS7 stuff and my upcoming supercar rebuild project. So guys, thank you so much for watching, subscribing, clicking the like button, and until next time, I will catch you very soon.